I'm telling you, once we change the energy within ourselves, the whole dynamics of our reality start to shift. We're not changing the other people. We're simply changing ourselves, invoking different treatment from these other people. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Alyssa, and this channel is about the laws of the universe and how you can use them to attract the life of your dreams and thrive in your human experience. So if any of that sounds good to you, hit that subscribe button as well as the bell icon, like this video to get it out to more people, leave me a comment, and share this video if you find it useful. In this video, I'm going to get into why empaths tend to attract toxic people into their lives, and I'm going to give you some tips on how you can break the cycle of attracting narcissists if that's been a pattern for you. So we're just going to jump right into what being an empath actually is. First, empathy is something that pretty much all people are capable of feeling, which is the ability to put ourselves in other people's positions and feel for their situation. Now, an empath takes that to the next level. An empath is someone who feels for others on a much deeper level than the average human. They're very intuitive, creative, genuinely caring and compassionate, and very considerate of others. I know for myself as an empath, I've always hated the thought of inconveniencing someone else, and other empaths, comment down below if this is you. Do you feel like you're pretty good at telling when someone's lying to you? Like you just have that gut feeling that something someone's telling you just isn't right? Not all the time, but that's been a pretty big one for me. So being an empath is truly a beautiful thing, right? If you clicked on this video, you're most likely an empath, so you do know that it does have its benefits and its moments. However, being an empath does come with, let's say, its faults. We often have very low self-esteem. We tend to be more anxious, sometimes codependent. We absorb the energy around us, so large crowds can be very draining for us. And we often take on other people's emotions and problems as our own. And as you probably already know, this kind of energy can attract people who eat that stuff up, aka narcissists and sociopaths. So all of that kind of sounds like it outweighs the good aspects of being an empath, right? Well, what if you didn't have to deal with those negative aspects? What if you didn't have to absorb other people's issues that they try to project on you? What if you could stop attracting narcissists and even change how the ones currently in your life respond to you? You do not have to take the crap that people try to throw at you. We empaths have the power to decide whether or not we take it on. So let's talk about the narcissist, since this is a pretty common empath issue, right? So a narcissist, pretty much the opposite of the empath, is a person with an overinflated sense of self or ego. And while they can empathize, they're usually more caught up in their own world, so they empathize much less. They feel like they need to be in control of everything and respond emotionally when they can't be. They need to feel admired, they love attention, and because they have this big ego to feed, they usually need to take from people like empaths to get their needs met. Now, why would they need the energy of empaths? Well, first of all, the empath is more than willing to give it. Okay, we may not know it, but we have this big bucket of love, affection, and ego stroking that we just dump onto narcissists. And of course, they eat it up. This is such a poisonous and common trap that so many empaths find themselves in, especially in romantic relationships. So the narcissist is incredible at drawing in people like empaths. Their personalities when we first meet them are usually intoxicating, we become smitten, and pretty quickly willing to give ourselves fully to that person. And you know me, always going back to childhood, but both the empath and the narcissist are drawn to each other because they're both dealing with some sort of childhood wounding, the effects of which carried into adulthood. And they stay together to keep feeding off of each other's wounds and sometimes even creating a bond over that wounding. This is called trauma bonding, and it's a form of codependency. It's like two messed up pieces of a puzzle. The empath identifies as the giver, and so they need a taker to keep up that ego identity, and vice versa. And the fact that a narcissist depends on people like us to get their needs met and feel complete just goes to show how much that person is actually hurting. No happy, whole, and complete person needs to take from other people's energy banks and walk all over them. No happy person needs to have control over other people and turns to unhealthy behaviors like gaslighting and stonewalling if they don't get their way. That's their inner child at its finest coming out to say, hey, I'm still here and I'm still wounded. And side note, it's kind of funny, well, it's not really funny, but I've been called weak by narcissists in the past, which was very triggering, as you can imagine. But once I learned about all of this, that comment seemed pretty silly, since they're the ones who needed someone like me in order to feel strong and complete and secure in themselves. So if you're in that situation, don't look down on anyone, of course, but no one who says that is strong, okay? Let alone stronger than you. So just FYI, so if you're dealing with a narcissist, use that empathy and understand that this is their ego's way of surviving. At some point when they were kids, they experienced something that suggested to them that they need to act like this in order to survive and get their needs met. And we're all just trying to get our needs met in one way or another, right? So empathize, but do what you can to separate yourself from these people as much as you can. Because guess what? You can't fix them. I know our empath identity tells us otherwise, right? We're fixers. And I'm gonna tell you a few things that you can do to stop attracting people like that and even switch up how some of them treat you. But none of these tips that I'm gonna give you will suggest that you should be around this type of energy any more than you absolutely need to. Or that it's your responsibility to cure it in others, because that is not on you. You are only responsible for yourself, and trying to control that in other people is a form of manipulation. Even if your intentions are positive, we cannot manipulate deep change in others, especially if they don't see it as a problem. Narcissists are pretty notorious for their lack of self-awareness. So again, not your problem. But let's get into how, as empaths, can better protect ourselves from this type of toxic person. So the first thing that you need to do as an empath to prevent this type of treatment is to set boundaries. But for the sake of time and simplicity, just start saying no more. People pleasing is one of the cornerstone traits of being an empath. And it keeps the takers, in this case the narcissists, constantly coming back for more. So get into your body, and if you're not digging the vibe of the situation, speak up. Their needs are not the only ones that matter. Your needs matter too. And that sounds selfish in the ears of an empath, but this is one of the biggest issues that empaths deal with, and it keeps us miserable. Think about it. We people please, why? To get approval, right? To get people to like us. It's an exchange. We're getting something out of it. But we're exchanging our happiness and sense of self for approval that doesn't even matter. Why should we need the approval of a wounded person like the narcissist? That's our inner child coming out when that happens, and it's feeding that wound and it's feeding the narcissist's ego. So stop trying to please them. We do not need their approval. So set boundaries, say no, and stop the perpetual need to please. Another thing that you should do if you're an empath who attracts narcissists is to get a little self-absorbed. What do I mean by this? Well, as empaths, we have a detrimental tendency to stop thinking of ourselves. We're so busy calibrating ourselves to fit other people's needs that we completely disregard our own. And then we attract people who don't consider our needs either and wonder what we're doing wrong. Stop rejecting yourself and you'll stop attracting people who reject you. As above, so below. We attract people who reflect our own self-treatment. So tune into your body, into your mind, get into meditation, and just sit in your body. Feel yourself as separate from other people. You do not need to absorb other people's shit. That's not your responsibility. Yes, I talk about the law of divine oneness, but as an empath, you've been there, done that, right? Time to focus on yourself. I know that can be uncomfortable for an empath, but become a bit more polarizing. Leaning into discomfort as an empath can actually create magic for us. Just fun fact. You won't become a narcissist if you start putting yourself first more. You'll simply create a balance of taking care of yourself while still being considerate of others, because that just comes natural to you. And then you'll start attracting more people like that who have mutual respect for people like you. There's so much respect that comes from other people when you start to respect yourself. And narcissists are not attracted to people with self-love, self-respect, and set boundaries. In fact, they're threatened by these people. Those energies do not align. And if you start cultivating that sense of self-love and respect, the encounters that you do have with narcissists will be short and sweet. They'll be less inclined to even speak to you more than needed, let alone give you crap. I'm telling you, once we change the energy within ourselves, the whole dynamics of our reality start to shift. We're not changing the other people. We're simply changing ourselves, invoking different treatment from these other people. And the last thing that I'll leave you with, I know I'm rambling, but develop emotional intelligence. If you're dealing with a narcissist in your life and you keep reacting to them emotionally, they will win every time. They create these negative scenarios to get negative reactions. And if we stop reacting to that button pushing, eventually they'll leave it alone. If we're not feeding them, they will move on because they cannot stand not getting that attention. Even negative attention is still needed attention to a narcissist. This does not have to be your reality. So start practicing the tips that I gave you in this video. Set those boundaries, stop being so agreeable to please the narcissist, get into your own body, develop respect for yourself, stop reacting to these people when they try to trigger you, and you will see your reality shift. Now, I know that this was a lot, but I really, really hope that this was helpful in any way. Subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you made it this far. Leave me a comment with any takeaways or anything that you'd like to add, and share this video if you think it could help someone else. But thank you all so much for watching today, and as always, please be safe, much love, and I'll see you next time.